Hello, my beautiful people. I am very, very happy to see you today. Greetings, everyone. Paul, thank you so much for becoming a sponsor of the channel and gifting it to others. Thank you. And tell me, please, can you hear me? Can you see me well? Is everything okay with the connection? Loud and clear. Thank you so much. That's super important. And thank you so much, Paul, once again. And I am so happy to see you today. I don't know how about you guys, but I've missed you tremendously. And there are a lot of things that we can discuss today, but focusing on the collapsing Russian economy. And before I will start reading, greetings from your beautiful places, because honestly, I just love it when I introduce you a bit. But I would like to thank, first of all, to thank my amazing team of moderators who protect us all from the Russian trolls, and Russian trolls always appear. Thank you so. Oh, greetings, Pavlo. Happy to see you here. And guys, Pavlo Stelma, who is a host of UA TV, he has just joined the chat. He has a great personal channel, and I greatly advise you to join it too. It is not enough Ukrainian voices. Thank you so much, Dr. Andy. And I would like to thank my amazing Martin, Philip, Spencer, Rudy, and Michael for being super cool guardians. You know, we often look attentively at the photos of President Zelensky, how he is surrounded by guards who actually have their own pages on Instagram, and some of them we know and recognize. Thank you so much, Serkan. Merhaba to Turkey. And we love them a lot. So just like President Zelensky has the best guards, thank you so much, Russell, for becoming a sponsor, and thank you, Tony, for buying me coffees. So just as President Zelensky has amazing guards, I have amazing guards too, and I'm very grateful to have you in my life. Thank you so much, Paul, and thank you so much, Serkan, and thank you so much, all the amazing sponsors and patrons. So let me read a little bit. Where you from? And Greece is here with us. The United States is here. And Philip says that there is some cracking on the audio. I'm sorry, I'm not responsible for that. Might be some problems with the internet. Greetings to Unseen Alps and Francois and Virginia and Netherlands, of course. I like it, of course. And Midlands Oblast and Australia. Good morning, Australia. I'm always happy to see people. It's really early. Greetings to Sweden and Nebraska. And is it me or you, Cutie Pie? Who is Cutie Pie? Greetings to Texas and Uppsala, Sweden and Belgium and England and Gran Canaria and Denmark. Denmark is a country where we've got lots of people in the community, and Canada is the same. And again, Sweden and Istanbul and Portugal and Alberta in Canada and Colorado. Thank you so much. Really happy to see all of you today. Greetings to Germany and Georgia and Scotland and England and Sweden and Orlando, Florida. And what's up from New England and Wisconsin? I so much love to introduce you. Thank you so much, Rudy, for becoming a sponsor. Toronto, Canada, and Pennsylvania and Virginia and New Zealand. And thank you so much, Thomas. Okay, maybe just a minute more when I want to introduce your oblasts and your locations, because that is such an inspiration. Virginia mountains. I love mountains, you have to know that. Mountains and forests, even more than the sea. And Finland, Swami, Finland knows what Russia is, and united we stand. Greetings to Malta. And Bulgaria, you must have a season right now, lots of tourists visiting. And Estonia is seriously preparing, and it's better to be prepared and not to need that war preparation than the country. Greetings to Finland again. And the question, anybody from Russia? I'm not sure we need people from Russia. And honestly, you may consider me bad, but I don't believe in good Russians. I don't mean like persons, but I haven't met a lot of good Russians. And greetings to Africa. And I know we have a great community from South Africa. And by the way, I'm very honored with that. Jersey, New Jersey, Michigan, Texas, and Florida. And greetings from Jake Bro City. Is it Las Vegas? I would love to see it one day. Actually, there are so many places I would like to visit. And greetings to Massachusetts. And right you are. We have destroyed 2 Russian Su-34 and seriously damaged 2 more. And actually, after the stream is over, there will be a separate vlog where I speak about this disastrous months for the Russian aviation. Can you guess? Let's try and guess how many aircraft, not just like helicopters, but simply planes, Russia lost this month. Greetings to Thailand and Spain. Hola. Necesito practicar mi español porque ahora estudio mucho y tengo una profesora maravillosa que también es una traductora muy popular aquí en Ucrania y trabaja con autores de España y de América Latina. Greetings to Tuscany. And right, thank you so much, John, for reminding me about a very important day that we celebrate today, and I speak about that in the vlog. And that is the day of the Constitution of Ukraine. And by the way, yes, there is something coming on Anna Danilchuk Roberts. Thank you for asking. There will be a separate video which is very, very emotional, and I hope you will forgive me for that because it was recorded in like a day or 2 ago after serious attacks on Kyiv and Odessa, and I had to share more with you. So really happy to see so many of you joining. And let's greetings to West Texas and Switzerland and New Hampshire. And abrazos fuertes a todos mis amigos que hablan español. Okay, so today we have a really greetings to Wales, and you know that I have a special notebook, like I have a lot of notebooks. Do you want me to show you some notebooks that I keep? And number one, in which I keep my channel ideas. Da-da-da-dum! So you can guess, this is the one in which I keep my channel ideas. Another one, you will laugh at it, given by my really good friend, the one where I kept my book ideas, the one that I have already finished, I believe. And it has just like this magical creature, frog cat from one of the Ukrainian cartoons. Thank you so much, Matt, and greetings to you. And this one is the one where I keep other like writing ideas, and I kind of like it a lot, so it has a lot. Maybe you will also like my pen. I brought it from the Carpathian Mountains, and it resembles an axe or something because a part of the national costume in the Carpathians, they wear this small axes. So you have seen it all. Oh, and that is my notebook for my Spanish classes. So you can guess I'm a person that likes stationery a lot, and I will tell you a joke before we continue with the real joke, and that real joke is the Russian economy. So when I was a child, and actually it continues now, I have always loved stationery, like pens and notebooks. I can spend hours choosing something and so on. And I remember one day we were at that stationery office, like shop with my dad, and he was a little bit exhausted with me choosing everything for so long. And he told me like, Anya, I'm so tired of all that. Well, when you finish, why on earth do you need it? And I told him like I was really small, and I thought, thank God that I don't like jewelry that much. Because like, you know, stationery, pencil box, pencils and notebooks are way cheaper than jewelry. And he started laughing. And since then he kept saying like, oh my God, you are right. I'm really happy that you prefer stationery. Thank you so much, William, for buying me coffees and for joining us. And I would love to visit Japan, Mr. Anderson. That would be my dream, not only for the stationery, but for the stationery too. So, amazing people, thank you so much for joining. And I had this question that I wanted to start with because my next video after the stream will continue with the disastrous week for the Russian aviation. So, can you guess how many Russian aircraft, the Ukrainian drones, and the Ukrainian pilots, and maybe even the Ukrainian missiles destroyed this month? Can you guess? Tell me a number. Of course, be optimistic, but be realistic. Can you write this number in the chat? 75. I wished, but not. A little bit less. 50, really close. 44, more. Well, 100, I would love to, but 45, really close. So far, the closest. 48, you are right, Finlay. That is exactly 48 during just 1 month. 48 evil Russian aircraft. And you can multiply that by dozens, if not hundreds, of innocent Ukrainian lives saved because of that. 48 during just 1 month. And all because of the beautiful spiderweb operation, but also our long-range drones. This is already the war of drones, and that is why NATO and all the countries who want to protect themselves against Russia, North Korea, and this very well-shaped axis of evil need Ukraine with our experience of the warfare. Yeah. And a lot of missile launchers. Michael is right about that. And well, you will hear more in my next video that will appear on the channel after our questions and answers session. And also remember to subscribe to my new channel, Anna Danilchuk. It's not that new anymore. We already have more than 12,000 friends there. And I'm always happy when you join. I will not overload you with videos there. It appears once a week, every Saturday, if everything is fine. And I'm always happy to see you there. And you see that the sheriff has just shared that video. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Philip. And I want to remind that just like as Neil says that, and the Bustater focuses on that, please remember to like this video. As the world is intoxicated with the Russian propaganda, we need some clever people to debunk all of that BS. So please remember to like these videos, to share these videos if you share my opinion, of course. Okay, Arms, you have to, like inform people about that spider web operation, because personally, I believe that is a historic operation that a lot of people need to know more about. Because, like, this is, I don't know, how about you? I understand that many prefer to think that this is just like a local conflict and it will not expand, but looking at how many countries help Russia, that North Korean soldiers are in Ukraine, that China openly fuels that all, and even the fact that they cause a lot of problems with the hybrid warfare. Thank you so much to Balkane. Thank you. It's amazing. You make our community very strong, and thank you for that. So with all of these countries involved, with this very vivid axis of evil, we may officially say that is the World War. It doesn't have to be similar to the First World War or similar to the Second World War. Even if you compare the first and the second, you will see they were very different. The first one was mainly around the trenches. The second one was already with bombers, with lots of like very different operations. And to tell you the truth, you see lots of people are thanking to Balkane. Thank you. And me too. So for me, it is already the World War, taking into account how many countries are involved and taking into account the consequences that can definitely influence everything globally, not just like, some parts of Ukraine or some parts of Russia, but sums up to the fact, and that's the reason to like this stream too, that war is now back to Russia, to many, 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 many of the regions. Well, let me sip. And greetings to Toronto. And Thank you so much. Anna is so pretty. Uh, well, I think we should focus on the Russian economy, because this is one of the areas of the Russian life that definitely illustrate loss of control. Loss of control and serious problems that they encounter in their everyday life. I have a question to you. Let's make this Q&A more interactive, because sometimes there's so many things that I want to tell you, and then I forget to answer some of the questions, and I feel it's very wrong, because it's super important that we communicate directly. And I would like to start before I continue, because I have one thought that I want to share with you about this life in Russia. But I would like to ask you a question first. Let's be like realistic. Many of you had some experience about Russia before the start of the war. Maybe some of you visited. Maybe some of you observed the Soviet Union, its collapse, Cold War, and so on. So you can provide some useful perspective. It's obvious that Russians know what they do in Ukraine with internet, with social media. It's really obvious that you can find the internet, the information that you want. It was possible to find even in times of, let's say, Nazi Germany. Those who wanted to know the truth about the Nazi crimes could find out. A lot of people choose not to look for the truth, not to look for the information. They literally escape and allow themselves not to know. But my question will be, thank you so much, Marcel. Thank you, and I'm very grateful to all the people who support this channel, who support Anna Danilchuk, and who actually fuel more of my work. I'm a workaholic, and you can be 100% sure that it will not make me feel relaxed. It will just concentrate more of my work. Thank you so much, Marcel. So my question that I want you to answer in comments below, and we'll read some of your answers. Why do you think so many Russians genuinely like Putin? It's not fake. Many of them genuinely like Putin. What is the reasons? What is the reason? Why? What is the reason for that? The strong man idea, says Robert. Why? Power worship. They are brainwashed. Alcohol syndrome. They see him on TV a lot. Fear. The Russian populace is sick because they are not strong. Why do Americans like Trump? I don't know. That's a question too. Soviet population loves him, like make them feel strong and important. Tribalism, interesting. They know nothing else. My brother dated a Russian woman and she was a big Putin fan. Oh my God, sorry, that's not good. Is he bringing back the USSR? Pride is contagious. Propaganda, cult of personality, lack of choice. Cutie pie, are you talking about Putin? They can't accept the true state. They have very few opportunities. He represents the Soviet ideals. Cult of personality. Yeah, but why do they, the little father? Yeah, why did they develop, this cult of personality? Why straight shooter doesn't use concern and thoughts, fear, money, power, 1990s propaganda, his mystical myths of Russia. They don't want to be executed, like 140 million. Come on, 25% of them are drunk. Here I agree with you, because they are serfs. Indoctrination, Stockholm syndrome. I'm so proud of you guys. You're so clever. There's so many things that I learned from you because of their education. And greetings to New Orleans. Alcohol syndrome dominates. And who am I to object that? But thank you guys. There are lots of really good ideas that you provide here. And I agree, I think that the majority of them are part of they do not contradict each other, but they do, to tell you the truth, they do like this strong hand. You know that, well, those who choose Putin, they like this image of a strong leader, strong hand. They don't like democracy. They consider democracy something dangerous. They are afraid of freedom. They don't want to be responsible for any choices. They want somebody else to be responsible for their life. This is perhaps this serfdom approach, like because you delegate your life to someone else and he's responsible for that life. And it's actually very sad. It's very depressing. It's very pathetic. It's something that in this, like, you know, like Stalin, you're right. It is very typical for people who are really down, people who do not believe in themselves. It's not a sign of success. Imagine like you don't want any responsibility in your life, and obviously together with like giving that responsibility to someone else, you also take away all the possible opportunities, and you don't trust in yourself. You don't believe you can achieve something. It's obvious in Russia you cannot achieve anything. I had a lot of people who left in comments below information like if you have business in Russia or something like that and you're successful, thank you so much, Sirshun. And it's very typical that if you're successful in Russia, you have your business and it grows. It's not something small like you sell, I don't know, tomatoes next to your house, but if it's something big or if it's something promising, they will notice you. Thank you so much, Mark. They will notice you and they will try to take away your business. That is, by the way, one of the reasons why so many businesses that were previously apolitical protested against Yanukovych regime that used a very similar approach. Like when they noticed interesting business, they would come up to people and they would say like, I think you have some tax problems and you don't have. But when all of the state machine is working for you, judges are working for you, police is working for you, it's not difficult to find a problem. And they falsify this problem, they create this problem, and then they approach the owners of the business. They say like, you can sell this business, I don't know, for $50,000 and have no problems, or you will have serious problems and can actually end up in prison. And people say, come on, I cannot sell my business. It's all of my life. And even if I had to sell it, it cost, I don't know, $500,000, not 50, it's 10 times more. And then in societies like Russian, they tell you, no, you either sell it for 50,000 or you get in prison. You don't have an option. And that is why I believe a lot of people do not believe in this opportunity to become something or someone in Russia. It's very unrealistic. And people give up on themselves, and people stop dreaming, and people decide to choose, the strong hand, the strong leader, and they delegate everything in their life to that leader. Why? Because like their mission is, I don't know, robot system. Yeah, that's a beautiful description. Their mission, there is no Russian dream. Very well said. There is no Russian dream, and their mission is, I don't know, work, drink, die. And they don't want any problems, any chaos to appear, and that is why they delegate everything to Putin. So another question that I want to ask you, you're right, just like Nazis, that resembles greatly. Russians actually follow Goebbels' Hitler propaganda book, and I wonder why so many people don't see it. So another question. Okay, and it may be actually partially connected, I'm sorry, with MAGA people. So why do they want to delegate all of their rights to this strong hand? What do they expect? How do you think? What do they expect this strong hand to give them so that you are prepared to be like literally nothing, but let this strong hand decide for me? What is the reason? How do you see that? Because I have my opinion. Thank you so much, Pat, and love a lot. But you see, we share a lot of things in common. So, daddy issues, they think they will be safe. William, that's great. I'm sorry if the mic is cracking. I think that's the internet issue because the mic is well connected. It's not the mic sound. I am sorry if it interrupts you from hearing me well. Ignorance, they want to be part of something big, Jason says. And thank you so much, Olaf. You're right. She cannot fix it. It's connection. So the strongest hand can punish their enemies. Heavy propaganda, make them feel strong and important. Stability, by the way, the thing that they often use, and those pro-Russian leaders that come on other territories, they cannot offer anything good, but they offer stability. History talks, Tsar is God, lazy and do not want to take responsibility. You are so right. And actually, that is just an example. Everything goes together. But when they give up their rights, when they give up their freedoms, they expect stability. They expect that, like, the world around them is the same for that decades to come, that they don't have to care about their future. It is already decided, but that future will be similar to that, like yesterday, and they don't have to take care of anything, right? That is what they expect. And now, when they have given up on themselves, when they have given up on their freedoms, their dreams, they did not become fully human from my perspective, because to live your real life, you have to try something, you have to test something, you have to give yourself a chance. So when they give it all to their leader, to the strong hand, and then they realize that this strong hand does not give them what was promised, and they do not receive the stability. And that is exactly what Russians experience now with a number of spheres of their life. And that is important to understand. You know, of course, we have to remember that the most important events are taking place on the front lines. And this is a tremendous heroism of the Ukrainian soldiers who are defenders. It is a very different, like, role in life to be a looter and invader, to be a war criminal, or to be a defender. But war, and especially if it's a big war, it takes place in very different dimensions. It touches very different spheres of life. And it's present literally everywhere. Far away from the front lines. My city is far away from the front lines, but a lot of people from my city are on the front lines as soldiers, as volunteers. And war can come every night. I can hear Shahed drones flying, missiles destroy apartment buildings here, air raid alerts interrupt our everyday life, funerals take place in cathedrals. It's everywhere. But it also influences this core elements of life, which are not like personal, which are not like abstract, but very, very real. And here I'm speaking about the economy, as you might have guessed. And here I'm speaking about other spheres like transportation. They have serious problems with transport and logistics in Russia. Come on. Thank you so much. Barely noticeable. Thank you. Well, first of all, I will not steal your attention from this aviation, because we will have a separate video after this Q&A session where I will focus more on this deadly months for the Russian military aviation. But we also know that a lot of Russian airports are no-fly zone. In Moscow, Vnukovo, Domodedovo, these are just like names that everyone, at least on this former Soviet Union territory, knew. And jealous of our lives. Yeah, exactly. That's what Russians are. And all of these Russian politicians somehow keep their children in the rotting West. That is such a disgrace. That is such an illustration that they totally do not believe in their project. Because, like, you want your children to have the best. And if you keep your children away from Russia, isn't that symptomatic? Can you imagine, like, okay, we all don't love Trump, but can you imagine that, like, his children lived in Russia? Wouldn't that be a scandal? Wouldn't that be everywhere in tabloids? Like, why, when your dad is the president of your country, of the country, you don't choose to live in that country? And neither Putin's nor Lavrov's children live in Russia. No, they don't want. They prefer this rotting West. To Balkan, thank you so much. Thank you so much for making our community way stronger. We need that. That is just like a serious informational warfare. Thank you once again. So I don't mind if Trump will do something that will make us love him, but that is super illustrative. Like, they don't believe in their own project, in its economy, in its future, in its science, in its housing, nothing. But okay, we have agreed that they have chosen Putin, or they liked Stalin, because such strong leaders offered them stability, offered them no responsibility, like, I will take care of everything, and everything will remain the same it was like yesterday. And it doesn't work like that anymore in Russia. They have a lot of things changing for the worst. And these are serious branches of the Russian lives. Okay, we've mentioned transport logistics. Problems with that, pretty obvious. Let's make 700 likes. You can do it. It's just like $6.99. Thank you so much, barely noticeable. Thank you so much. Guys, thank you for making our community stronger and gifting sponsorships to others. Thank you. So we clearly see that, okay, transport logistics. Many of you have mentioned oil refineries. True. At least like 25% of them are not operating after the visits of the Ukrainian drones. I had this bad feeling that we were restricted to target Russian oil refineries for a certain moment of time, but it seems to have returned already. Also, this Israel-Iran war led to growing oil prices, and that was good for Russia because they are a gas station, nothing else. They simply sell their resources. Thank you so much, Gary. Greetings to Canada. Thank you. And, together, that is such a beautiful, thank you. Thank you, guys. I feel very just like proud of our community and very grateful to all the sponsors, patrons, and those who buy me coffee and who help us grow bigger. So it's pretty obvious that like they have a number of fields that are under serious trouble, and it's impossible to hide that. A lot of questions about the Russian air defense. Why isn't it working? You can guess. Russia, as a classical bully, did not plan they would need to defend themselves. Back in 2022, did you believe that like dozens of Russian regions would be a war zone? Thank you so much, Rudy, for buying me coffee, and cheers to that. But today we will focus on the Russian economy. And, in my previous videos, and some people, especially Russia sympathizers, may say, like, you've been talking about Russian economy for so long, but nothing happened to it. Well, economy is not a pancake. It takes some time. And it's just like, an asteroid or something that falls on the planet. You don't know from the very beginning of its existence that something bad is coming. And for a very long period of time, we were collecting symptoms. We were looking at the things that are wrong and trying to make some conclusions. But since recently, especially after this international, it's not international at all, they had like Taliban delegation there, but International Economic Forum in St. Petersburg, more and more top Russian managers of the economic sphere started speaking openly about the problems they have in the Russian economy. And these are no ordinary people. These are not, Russian opposition, which doesn't exist in reality. And if you saw this recent speech of Navalny, you can clearly understand why I don't see any real Russian oppositioners at all. And she is just a proof she's a classical imperial Russian. So those of you who sometimes tell me, would you like to speak? Would you like to know? I wouldn't. I totally don't see right now any serious any serious Russian oppositioner who can become like a president or speak openly. But when we talk about these problems that Russian economy experiences, and I say these are no more us collecting the symptoms and trying to draw the big picture, but those people who are afraid to speak openly, those people who live under the pressure of Putin's regime, under the pressure of Russian propaganda, they started speaking openly about the tremendous problems that Russian economy encounters right now. So during this super escalation, with lots of attacks on Ukrainian civilian buildings, what they name, negotiations process, that is disgusting. But in all of this context, Putin held an economic forum in St. Petersburg. In Russia, they are copycats. They do not create anything. They are not competitive. It's pretty obvious. And I guess since the 70s or 80s, since the collapse of the Soviet Union, they did not manage to develop anything. And the reason that the Soviet Union, it was not just like all Russian. Thank you so much, Custom Fantasy. Thank you. You are late, sensitive issues, but you are still on time. Welcome. So with all of that, we clearly understand that they copy and they love naming that pathetic economic forum that they hold in St. Petersburg. And St. Petersburg is hometown for Putin. He began his damned career there. And it's very symbolic. If he cares about any problems, any protests, any dissatisfaction, it's in Moscow and St. Petersburg. Even though Russia is so big. By the way, I was really surprised to see that the population of Bangladesh, way smaller in terms of territory than Russia, exceeds Russia. So not many people want to live on these vast territories of the Russian Federation. And with all this, so this is literally one more proof that Russia does not need more territories. They have more than enough. They are uninhabited. People don't want to live there. But anyway, we have this truth about Russians that are not creative, that are not competitive. And so as a reaction, they organize what they call Russian Davos, because nobody invites them to that economic forum in Davos. And they create the similar one, the pathetic, it's not similar, the pathetic copy of it in St. Petersburg, Putin's hometown, the symbol of his, I don't use bad words, so I cannot speak more about that, but you can guess. And maybe 10 years or 20 years ago or 15 years ago, just before the start of Putin's war against Ukraine, it was quite a serious event with lots of businesses visiting it. I don't think they were looking for the Russian innovation or IT service or something like that, but mainly they were interested in Russian resources, and a lot of business companies consume that and need that. Thank you so much, Ronald. Thank you. And so with all of that, people were coming, and there were a lot of businesses coming from the US, from the European Union, maybe even, I don't know, from Australia. I'm not just following everything, plus it was dozens of years ago. And right now, after the full-scale invasion, and even after Donald Trump starts saying that we can consider business with Russia, we can consider some deals made, I never understand, what does he mean when he says a deal? So maybe I will ask you as a question that. So Russian Davos are joking. That is a joke. So when they were conducting that forum this time, literally no one serious showed up. No one from the US, despite Trump's conversations and so on. Like nobody showed up, and it was totally unserious. And there was a separate delegation, guys from Taliban. You may think that I'm joking or that I'm exaggerating or that I'm being like sarcastic as a Ukrainian. That's the good way to survive, you know. But guys, really, they had a delegation from Taliban and they filmed it and they put a flag or something of that Taliban. I'm not sure, like Taliban has it, but just think about that. One more reason to name Russia a terrorist state. So they had this businessman coming from Taliban to participate in the Russian Davos. It already sounds like a start of the joke, right? The Taliban comes for a Russian Davos. Remember to like this video. That helps. Yeah, and Carl saw the flag, so I'm not joking and I'm not exaggerating. That's true. So they had these visitors and they had a lot of people meeting there. And Putin had a lot of like conversations that he kept like open and visible, and a lot of people had to watch them, including me. And that's why we had that video when I was wearing a doctor's suit, because like a doctor's thing, because you know it's really difficult to watch him and to remain normal. Thank you so much, Dave, for buying me coffee. And Neil is right, we need 900 likes. That would be really good. And thank you so much, Daniel. And Daniel says, yes, hit the like. Please listen to Neil and Daniel and listen to me. Thank you so much. And the sheriff. So with all of that, we clearly see that like they did not manage to organize that so-called economic forum as something serious. But they gathered a lot of people who run the economy of Russia. Thank you so much, Martin. Thank you. They run this economy of Russia, you know, and it's nothing to run. But first of all, Putin had a serious speech there, repeating that Russians and Ukrainian are one people, unable to understand that, like, they don't speak Ukrainian, they cannot understand Ukrainian, they have serious troubles with everything. And I think, like, literally, even very ignorant people around the world now see this tremendous civilizational, tectonic difference between Ukraine and Russia. So, okay, but it was very vividly open that Putin does not want to end this war, that Putin wants to continue, that his plans include some NATO countries, that he wants to reconstruct this Frankenstein of the Soviet Union. But after this, Putin, by the way, let me know in the comments below, what are your favorite ways to name Putin? Of course, apart from Putin, we all know that. But I love that a lot of articles in serious newspapers now name him the Kremlin patient. I love it. The Kremlin patient. It beautifully describes this nonsense that he keeps repeating on various public appearances, like the Kremlin patient. Putler, tin of poo, bunker gobbling. I love it too. Buttocks, butt face. That sounds to me like when before you told me how to pronounce Botox. In Ukrainian, it's Botox. So Russian gobbling, it's perfect. Let me read some. I like it. Botox, Kremlin gobbling, Vladdy, Putain, Putla, bunker boy, bunker grandpa, actually. Putin, Suron, Karlik, Putrid, Putin, Sauron, small p, Putinochino. You're too kind to him. Putla, Kremlin gobbling. Yeah, I like it too. So, but I honestly advise you to use this one more because I love it. Like, and I think YouTube will allow it because, you know, it's so insane that we have to adapt our language to the rules. But it says like the Kremlin patient. And they keep saying it in the newspapers, the Kremlin patient, the Kremlin patient. So whenever you want to look like, like doctors, like scientists, academicians, you may actually say the Kremlin patient. So the Kremlin patient, after his performance where he kept repeating traditional Ruski Mir BS that nobody believes, including his soldiers already who are here to loot and earn money, not something ideological. But apart from that, Pooty, you're too kind, Cheryl. So with all that, after Putin's performance, after the speech of this Kremlin patient, they gave the floor to the Russian economists. And you have to keep in mind that this is Putin's event. This is not an oppositionary meeting. This is not a Russian speaking somewhere in the exile. These are not Russian YouTube vloggers that earn money on the problems of Ukraine. This is not something like that. This is an official economic forum held in Putin's hometown with lots of his deputies, including him, visiting. And we have the head of the Central Bank of Russia, Nabiullina. I know Philip doesn't like her. With lots of other people coming. The Minister of Economy of Russia, with other responsible for the Russian economy people. Honestly, it's Putin who is responsible for this collapsing Russian economy because he's a blitzkrieg failed and he was totally unprepared for that. And like 3.5 years of war is really difficult for Ukraine, but it is also very difficult for Russia. They did not expect it to be real. They did not expect it to come like that. So all of these people gathered at the Russian so-called international economy forum and started speaking about the state of the Russian economy. And they literally stopped lying. Once again, I've told you previously, we were collecting the symptoms and trying to draw a bigger picture because Russian officials kept saying that everything is okay and like you don't have to worry about anything. Everything is under control and even better than it was before the start of the war. It's typical. And that is one. Thank you so much, Weird Science. Good evening to you. And that is very typical that many people believe, like living in normal countries, in healthy democracies, you trust what your deputies, what your ministers, what your presidents report to the nation or to the International Monetary Fund or something like that, because you cannot expect people who are your leaders to, to lie like that. But with Russians, it's okay. They lie everywhere they can, and they kept lying for a very, very, very long period of time. But now, the state of the Russian economy became so bad that even the head of the central bank, the minister of economy, the head of Sberbank keep saying we are on the edge of the recession. Translating it from Russian, I can tell you that they are already experiencing that. Because, I think that the Russian economy can collapse during this year. This is something that we can witness. One of the very important things, greetings to India, one of the very important things is for us not to give up and not to lift the sanctions. And that's why I think so many EU leaders are playing with Trump, trying to satisfy his ego, calling him daddy and other stuff, because we need him to remain, like on board, or at least not to shake the board the way he can. I don't think it's genuine, their attitude, that they like him so much. I think they are playing just to keep him on board and not to shake NATO, because Trumps are temporary and hopefully democracies will outlive this really difficult period. So coming back to the Russian economy, finally they started speaking about recession. And once again, if they pronounce it on Russian TV with Russian propagandists hearing that, with Putin being present there, it means they have very bad news, and they are trying to prepare people for that. So on that very economic forum, with Putin speaking from one of the tribunes, they literally confirmed that Russia is on the brink of the collapse and recession. And there are a lot of symptoms, there are a lot of signs, there are a lot of illustrations that you can understand when you are a professional economist, or you have to read really smart articles. I'm not an economist, but I'm a person whose family was traumatized by the collapse of the Soviet economy, which preceded the collapse of the Soviet Union. And to tell you the truth, once again, it's not like here in Ukraine, we often say that right now we are fighting for our independence because the Soviet Union, it literally collapsed. It collapsed. It was not like people were shaking, people were fighting for decades, but the very collapse happened because of the economy. That was the main reason. Economy, exhausting war in Afghanistan, and disasters, uncontrolled disasters, like, for example, the one in Chernobyl. So, and what happens now in Russia clearly resembles this situation. And thank you so much, someone, for buying me coffee. And with all that, we see that, like, the situation, the history, they say, repeats itself. But if you're not a professional economist, you don't want to read a lot. You simply focus on things on the surface. They are already visible. They are already very, very visible. Well, my favorite thing that I have reported to you recently is that starting this September, and that is not far away in the future, starting this September, all the Russian banks are allowed to limit the withdrawal of cash. Okay, but this limit is very, very small. People will be allowed to withdraw like 50,000 rubles. And you all know that ruble is ruble. Do you know any people who keep their savings in rubles? Literally, do you know any people who keep their savings in rubles? If you know, let me know in the comments. But I greatly doubt. I'm sure that even Putin and Lavrov, they don't keep their savings in rubles. What is more interesting, by the way, I'm not sure you know that. Well, right now, Russian soldiers, these are not mobilized or conscripted people. These are not volunteers. These are people who decided they want to earn money in this kind of bloody way. And they get their salaries. And they measure these salaries in dollars. So literally, you are the soldier of the Russian army and your salary is measured in dollars. Why? Because you come from a strong country? I guess not. Because you come from a weak country with the collapsing economy. And for you to at least earn something, they connect it to dollars, because dollars have value, euros have value. Hryvnia, my Ukrainian currency, is way stronger than ruble, under constant attacks, with war taking place mainly on the Ukrainian territory, with them targeting our energy infrastructure, our railway, and all of that. Ukrainian hryvnia is way stronger than ruble. Just think about that. Just think how fake Russian image is, how fake they like. I love it how we call it, you know, how they call it paper tiger, but we also add toilet paper tiger. That is so true. That is very true. So Russian soldiers count their salary in dollars, because if they count them in rubles, they get nothing. And that is pathetic. That is not a sign of strength. But coming up to those restrictions that they already experience, we see that starting from the 1st of September, people will be limited in the withdrawals. Oh my God, use toilet paper tiger. That's even worse, but describes it better. And so thank you so much for saying that Ukrainian people are really inspiring. Thank you. That means a lot. So what we see here is that starting from September, Russians won't be allowed to withdraw more than 50,000 rubles. Do you know what 50,000 rubles is? That is approximately $550. So $550, yeah, $500. Maybe, by the way, by September, that may be $500 already because ruble is dropping. And I think it's very obvious that it is not a sign of strength. It is not a sign of booming economy. It is not a sign of something. Typically, when they have problems, they try to connect it with something. They try to describe it as, some protection of fraud. We don't want a lot of transactions to take place. But how do you think? Okay, they don't want a lot of transactions. Why? Why do you care about the number of transactions in your country? Why do you care if people are taking back their money from banks? These are your money in the banks. Why can't you take this money and, I don't know, buy shoes, buy cars, buy a house? Why? Because Putin used the majority of those deposits on his war machine. We see that China, like North Korea, support Russia with missiles, with boots on the ground, but it doesn't happen for nothing. And recently there were reports about the billions of dollars, again, dollars, not rubles. Guys, again, dollars, not rubles. Attention, please, remember that. So with all that, like billions of dollars that North Korea received from Russia. Perhaps that is for the first time in a decade that North Korea got some money. Of course, these are not money for the poor people, hungry people of North Korea. This is for Kim Jong-un. But they literally didn't have any money at all. And now billions are paid by Russia for the soldiers, for the missiles that are not working well, but still. And a question then, if Russia pays them billions of dollars, I'm sure Russia pays billions to China. Russia pays billions to its soldiers. Where do they take this money from? They did not expect this would be, a 3-year-old, 3.5-year war. They expected it to be a blitzkrieg, but they totally failed. And now I'm looking for some, numbers that I checked before. And, a lot of people, starting with Philip, do not like, do not like that it's not restriction on the cash. It's a restriction of on anything that you can do with the sum of money, because any transactions are restricted. So it's not about just getting cash. It's about you paying for something. And then Putin says, it's suspicious. It's suspicious that you are buying something. Oh, cheers to buy. Kane, thank you so much. That is an honor to have you in our community, and thank you. Thank you so much. Дякую. So I have come up with these numbers, and I know that, once again, a lot of you don't like Nabiullina, and those who know a little bit about Russian politics, you know that this is the head of the central bank. And she is not a very pleasant woman, as anyone now running Russia, but a lot of experts, political, economic experts agree that she is very smart. And one of the reasons that Russian economy is still afloat is her skills and knowledge. So, by the way, they want to, influence her. Putin wanted to fire her a couple of times. And those people who care for the collapse of the Russian Federation, thank you so much, Amonsky. Thank you. They want her to be fired, because that would actually speed up the collapse of the Russian economy, because she was trying to maneuver. But right now, she is saying that, we have already exhausted all the resources during the 3.5 years. Just imagine her saying that directly into Putin's face. Thank you so much, Bruce. Thank you. And Vicky says, wow, that was awesome, Tubalcane. And I agree with Vicky. And please remember to like this stream as it helps a lot. And we have already 1119. And I finally learned to say 1100 instead of 1100, the way we do in Ukraine. So she said, and I will quote her, that a lot of resources that were helping Russian economy during the last 3.5 years are now totally exhausted. Without reforms, without investment, we are done. Do you think any reforms are coming or any investments are coming to Russia? Well, I greatly doubt. And this does not look like something that may happen. And this is super important to understand that this is not just like this is real. They are talking about that officially in the presence of Putin, which demonstrates how great the problems are, that they are preparing their population. If there is no investment, if there is no support. Thank you so much, Serkan. Teşekkür ederim. And so I guess let's celebrate, like the economy of the channel is growing stronger because of our sponsors and patrons, and that's a blessing. And the Russian economy collapses. So no reforms, no investments. Are you ready to invest in the Russian economy? With all Trump's ignorance, I don't think he is ready to do that. Unfortunately, a YouTube super chat is not available for Ukraine. There are lots of things that are not available for Ukraine. So, and since the start of the full-scale invasion, Russian welfare fund or something like that, they should rename it into a Russian debt fund, but it shrank 3 times. It was like $107 billion. And again, they measure it in dollars. So it was $107 billion, and now it's just 35. And honestly, I think that they literally don't have even that 35 billion. It's very typical for Russia to pretend to fake the numbers and like to play with the public opinion. And the fact that they started sharing it openly on public is a very serious problem here. Then it was not just Nabiullina, because we could think it was just like, I don't know, her anger or something like that. No, there were more people responsible for the Russian economy speaking about that. And the next one was the Minister of the Russian Economy, Reshetnikov. I don't know if you need to remember his name, but maybe he will jump out of the window or drink some Russian tea, the way they do it in Russia when the problems are coming. So, and he said on that very economic forum, in the presence of Putin, together with Nabiullina, he said that the Russian economy is on the brink of recession. And again, sums up for that, because recession might have already started. If they use this word, that is the reality, because they always hide the truth. So I personally believe that the situation is already, the economy is already in the recession, and that's just what they keep saying. The spending on the military is really high. The economy is overheated, and there was a short period, perhaps, when it was good. It created some new working places, but it stopped. It overheated, and it doesn't work anymore, and it doesn't help anymore. And they report about that, and they warn people. Now, tell me, please, just for a second, imagine yourself Russian. I know Thank you so much, guys. You're so generous. To Vulcan, I don't know, how do we thank you? Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And guys, just for a second, I know it's a bit of a horror story, but just for a second, imagine that you are a Russian. And then you hear that since the 1st of September, starting the 1st of September, you won't be allowed to withdraw your money. You won't be allowed to do anything. Olaf says that Tubal Cain is a legend, and I agree. Thank you so much. So, what would you do if you knew that, like, your state restricts any transactions that are more than $500? What would be your actions, like, before the 1st of September? Glory to the heroes. Let me know your versions in the comments. I wonder, like, maybe people have different visions than me. Get paid in cash. Yes, Ukraine currency is stronger than ruble, and that's important to remember. Buy gold, get as much as I can. And here I agree with Pat. Like, the majority of us would panic. Cheryl, you are right, would panic and would start withdrawing money and would try to get the money. And I don't know, turn them into, but I think, yes, they will drink more vodka. Laurent, you're right here. But this will definitely create some panic in Russia. That is very natural. And you cannot blame people for that. Like, by the way, something that may seem very unrealistic for you, coming from, I don't know, the European Union countries, coming from Australia, the United States, New Zealand, you have experienced financial crisis, unfortunately, but you haven't experienced tremendous, like, state frauds. And that's what millions of Russians have already experienced in the 90s. When they had economic crisis, they did not have, like, normal insurance companies or normal bank management, and dozens of millions, like, let's say millions of families lost the money. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, my family lost, like, all of their savings. And thank you so much, Peter. I'm happy that you are with us, and thank you so much for your continued support and for buying coffee and making us feel like stronger. Yeah, I'm going into gym. I don't know if you can see my biceps, but I have one. I have two. Trust me. So it's very obvious that, like, they have taken away a lot of people's deposits and used them for a war economy, and that they experienced that. Thank you so much, someone, for buying me coffee, and greetings to Lithuania, one of my favorite countries on planet. So it's obvious that, like, it may cause a serious, well, we've got a lot of people from Lithuania, greetings and love. So a lot of these things happening, and people, this will cause panic. And once again, this panic is not something unbelievable, is not something that you have never tried or you have never experienced. And it's super important to know, like, they already have this trauma, and they literally know it will happen. And another thing that they speak about in Russia right now during that economic forum, and not only, and I have also reported about that on the channel, is a number of, like, bad debts. I have never come across this phrase before, but some village run by cows, horses for cash. That would be a solution. Or donkeys for the front lines. They may buy donkeys from the front lines. Thank you so much, William. Thank you. So many amazing people making our community stronger. I'm really blessed to have you, and I'm very, very, very grateful. And with this bad debts, I had to, like, Google what is that. And these are kinds of loans like that people take usually for some small household credits, like buying some appliances or so on, and they never return. And it's not like a huge debt, for example, like $1 million that you won't return and people will speak about you on news. Greetings to New Zealand. Good morning. But it's a smaller debts, like something that you want to buy, I don't know, a TV or a computer or a mobile phone or even something smaller. But if millions of people take such credits and never return, your banks experience tremendous losses, and all multiplied, with serious. Thank you so much, Gail. Thank you. Cheers. And kia ora. And all of that happens with already a lot of debts because Putin used that for the front lines. Putin failed the blitzkrieg. He wanted it to last 3 days, but in reality, it lasts, 3.5 years, and it doesn't show the signs of ending, and many, many, many other things happening. So literally a lot of resources used for war. Economy is overheated. People do not return credits. Obviously, they understand like the economy is collapsing and maybe we shouldn't return the debts. What is also interesting, that production dropped tremendously, and like starting from furniture, lighting, various household appliances, but even this market of housing is almost 40% down, which actually proves nobody wants to live in Russia. And this is tremendous. And the main breakthrough, to those who may be very judgmental to me and say, why, Anna, you keep reporting about that for a very long period of time? Well, first of all, not for a very long period of time. The signs of problems appeared in the Russian economy approximately a year ago. But also, previously, we were talking about the symptoms that we collected, economists collected, I don't know, some newspapers reported. And right now, they are talking about that from inside Russia. They are talking about that in the face of Putin. They are talking about that on the so-called Russian Davos, openly. The head of the central bank, the minister of the Russian economy. And that is amazing. That is really true. You know that I was born on the 13th. Let's make 1,300 likes and I will let you go and enjoy your Saturday. And I am super grateful that you are here with me. And let me answer 3 blitz questions. And I will be happy to answer them. Maybe they can be economy connected or anything that you want to know. Thank you so much for saying that I'm cool, but I believe we have the coolest YouTube community. Like, true. So many people who come to watch videos, some of my friends or colleagues, and then they join and they read the comments and they say, oh my God, it's so just like amazing that you have so many friends. Yeah, just like Taylor Swift. Yeah. The YouTube plague is still traveling to me because Ukraine was, I don't mind. Jake Bro is amazing. I'm talking not about me. I'm talking about our community. And actually, we share a lot of good people in our communities. I mean, Jake and me, and Ukraine is blessed to have Jake. I honestly do not mind. The more people like Jake we have, the better it is. Greetings to Cambridge, Ontario, and I also enjoy this part of Saturday a lot, and I'm super grateful. So many more questions. Greetings to the United States. How often do you need to go to the shelter? Depends, but typically in Lutsk we often ignore raid alerts and then we feel sorry because since Trump is in the office, more attacks happen. And that is like serious. So in Kyiv, way more often, but typically that's the underground, the metro, and it's more important. Are you worried about Russians attacking from Belarus? I think they will try doing that. I'm not sure they will target Lutsk, but I think they may try, like Kyiv, Chernihiv, some other parts. But I believe they will fail. But the summer will not become. That's what I think. They may also try some NATO countries. I know many of you don't want to believe in that, but I think it is possible, because Putin sees this undecisiveness of Trump, this chaos in NATO, in the European Union, as one of his only opportunities to give it a try, to shake and try to destroy NATO, to undermine the unity of the European Union. You see this disgusting Orban and Fico trying to block Ukraine EU accession, and that is so disgusting, because I think we deserve it more than anyone. I'm sorry, maybe that sounds a little bit arrogant, but that's what I think exactly. And thank you so much for all these kind things. And I also want to thank all of you who supported our NEFO campaign. In the community tab, you may see more photos. And we managed to get 3 trucks. One will be delivered in July. 2 were already delivered, a lot of Mavic drones, and some of them are the newest. And by the way, I share more videos on Instagram, some of the drones, some of the trucks, because like YouTube may not always be sensitive to that. So thank you for making it possible. That is your your love transformed into things that save Ukrainian lives and keep demilitarizing Russia. So that is truly amazing. I'm very grateful for that. And you may see once again photos in the community tab, and also subscribe to my Instagram, and you will find more reports there. And thank you so much for all the good things that you are saying. And there is a new video on the new channel about this new Putin strategy, and I ask you to watch it and to have a look about it, and to let me know what you think. I read very carefully of all of the comments there too. And there will be one more video coming on the channel about Russian aircraft destroyed, -2 Su-34, 2 more damaged, and -3 helicopters, plus missile system Panzer. But you will hear about that in the next video coming after our question and answer session. Thank you so much for spending this evening with me. I'm sending hugs to all of you. I'm very grateful to read news from your countries. Glory to the heroes and love to Stuttgart. Thank you so much, Martin. Thank you to all the sponsors, all the patrons, all the good people who drink coffee with me. That is an honor and that is a great pleasure. And NATO needs Ukraine. I totally agree with you. Remember to share, like videos, comment videos. That is not for my joy, but this does help push the information. This does gives more attention to the videos to those people who don't know about us and who don't know about our community. I'm very, very, very grateful for that. And I want to thank my amazing moderators, Spencer and Martin and Philip and Rudy and Michael and all the longtime friends. And thank you so much to Balkane and Serkan and all the other amazing people who strengthened our community. And now I think the community of the channel has better economy than the Russian one. Thank you so much, amazing people. A lot of love. And you still have 2 more videos to watch. That is your homework. You know that I'm your Russian geography teacher. So do watch 2 more videos and then you can enjoy your weekend. Love from Ukraine. Slava Ukraini.